doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Enjoying this quesadilla.
Dude, honestly, quesadillas slap. They're probably like in my top 10 favorite foods.
I thought I knew how to make quesadillas, and then my wife introduced me to cooking
French quesadillas.
Cooking a quesadilla on the stove, soaked in butter.
Where did you cook your quesadillas before?
I would broil them in the oven, and they'd turn out fine, but stove with butter is incredible.
Oh.
Genuinely.
Soap with butter.
Nah, on the stove, my man.
Oh, yeah, okay. Like in a pan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was unaware that there was really any other acceptable way to make a quesadilla.
I mean, I'd microwave quesadillas sometimes. I'm never going to do it ever again, because that's nasty.
Yeah. I can't believe you're not... Wow. I thought I knew you. That's just a joke. If you like microwaved quesadillas, there is something seriously wrong with you, but you can still enjoy them. They just don't have the same crisp factor.
I still don't know if we can officially say the podcast has started, because I still have half a quesadilla left to eat.
Oh, yeah, no, it started. It's going.
We'll just put
whether you're munching.
We'll put a timestamp down for when the awful munching sound stopped.
I don't hear any munching sounds, so, and also some people could be into that. You don't know.
You don't hear any munching sounds because Discord has automatic noise suppression. I'm recording straight into FL Studio, and that's what I'm going to make the final cut with of the episode. It's not going to be what you're hearing. It's going to be what my mic is hearing. So,
what's your mic hearing?
There's some munching.
Oh yeah.
Anything cool you want to talk about?
Honestly, I've done nothing with my life in the last little while. I am the vanilla bean of ice cream flavors right now.
Well, I can't launch into some tirade until I finish this quesadilla.
Okay. Have you ever heard of the Holotypic Occlupanid Research Group?
No, I haven't. I can't say I have. That sounded like you were saying the freaking scientific name of an insect.
Well, it's kind of like that.
A holoclipid, you know. I don't know my
Holotypic
taxonomy.
Occlupanid.
Okay.
So you haven't heard of that?
No, I haven't heard of the Holotypic Occlupanid Research Group. What's
Holotypic
that?
Occlupanid.
I haven't heard of the Holotypic Occlupanid Research Group. What's that?
It's this thing I like to look at sometimes. What have you been up to? I'm joking.
Chowing down on a quesadilla, mostly.
Have you ever bought bread?
Uh-huh.
Have you ever... Okay, so you know how bread comes in bags?
Uh-huh.
And you know how those bags have to be sealed in some fashion?
Yeah, typically twist-tied by my experience.
But sometimes it's not a twist tie.
Sometimes it is literally sealed, yeah.
Or
what
else do they seal these bags with?
Crinkled up plastic. They just kind of twist it.
No. It's more sophisticated than that, Jason. They use holotypic occlupanids.
The little twist ties but the flat ones that are kind of square. And if you look at the hole in the middle, it looks like a Goomba.
Some species of holotypic occlupanids do have that look about them. This is true, but there are dozens of different species, Jason, and there's a research group dedicated to classifying and organizing the various species of holotypic occlupanids.
And holotypic occlupanid is what? Yeah, you were talking about bread, and I feel like that didn't have anything to do with holotypic occlupanids.
Okay. So you've bought bread before, right?
Yeah, I bought bread before.
And you know how bread comes in bags, right?
Yeah, bread comes in bags. Yeah.
You know how those bags have to be sealed, right?
Uh-huh. Keep the
You know how they seal those bags with
bread elves
holotypic
don't escape.
occlupanids, right?
No, I don't. That's the step that I'd really like you to elaborate on.
Okay, so you remember the Goomba plastic thing?
Yeah.
That's a holotypic occlupanid.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I don't believe you.
That's 100. That's 100% what it's called.
A holotypic occlupanid.
Holotypic. You can Google this right now. You can Google holotypic occlupanid,
Okay.
and you'll see that I'm telling you the truth.
Okay.
Look up holotypic occlupanid research group. HORG for short.
Okay, I typed in holotypic, and holotypic occlupanid research group immediately was the next. It was there. Holotypic Occlupanid Research Group. This site contains several years of research in the classification of occlupanids. These small objects are everywhere, dotting supermarket aisles and sidewalks with an impressive array of form and color. The Holotypic Occlupanid Research Group has taken on the mantle of classifying this most common yet most puzzling member of phylum Plasticae. Holy, this is overwhelmed. This is too much. There's so many taxonomies and things on my screen right now.
They recently added a new one that's like this compostable.
This is so freaking funny. Haplognathidae, half jaw. Yeah, this is the kind that I feel like you usually get from the store. Is these ones?
Oh, but there's loads and like.
Oh my gosh! This family is huge. Haplognathidae has like 30 different kinds.
Yeah.
Holy frick! Okay, what about Odontotrichidae? What? I've never seen
those
that.
Those are the ones that have like the tooth.
Yeah, they have teeth, and you like clip them together. That's freaking wild. What the frick? I am so happy this is so freaking good. This is amazing.
I'm so sorry I didn't tell you about this.
Taxonomic classification, geographical classification. Oh, this is cool. Oh, yeah. This is cool. I found on the taxonomic classification page, there's just like silhouettes of all of them with their names. Oh my gosh. Okay, which one's the Goomba? Oh, Toxodentidae. That's mine. Toxodentidae is the one that I grew up with. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Spirit occlupanoid.
That's my spirit occlupanoid. Yeah. Oh my gosh, geographical classification.
Oh yeah, and they've got tags for like how they were found, like if it was
Arctic,
in like a supermarket,
pale Arctic,
or
Arctic.
Inside a stomach, or
inside a
stomach. Oh yeah, no, they've got a tag for found in the gastrointestines of something.
What? Oh, here we go. The ecological classification is represented by icons that depict the various biomes that occlupanids are found in. Some occlupanids are found in multiple biomes, whilst many are of uncertain origin. Grocery aisles, hardware stores, roads and asphalt, restaurants and kitchens, picnics and parks, ocean gyres, what? Timepieces? What?
Like clocks.
You found it on a clock? What does that mean? Laboratory and industrial
on a clock, you know.
Basements and hoarder closets, landfill, gastrointestinal tracts, unconfirmed or forgotten. Okay, so Toxodentidae is the one that I recognize. That's the Goomba-looking guy.
Yeah.
More common and most distinctive of class Occlupana. They are identified by having curved processes on the sides that are oral groove, but none in the center. Most species have large palps on their outer sides, giving them a wavy, uneven appearance. And they've got the little Goombas. Oh my gosh, there's like 100 different classifications in this Porectofrontis longus, Porectofrontis macadus. This is incredible.
Isn't it awesome?
This is so cool.
It's one of my favorite things.
What the frick?
I found this through this.
And then they all have like kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Discovered by field researcher R. Girk on a bag of bagels in Fargo, North Dakota.
Isn't it wonderful?
This is so good. Oh my gosh. The Board of Taxonomy has determined that its unique morphology constitutes its own species. This is so freaking good.
Oh yeah, no, it's like it's legit.
This is
it reads like an actual
publications and reports,
like an actual thing.
The Holotypic Occlupanid Research Group has made great strides in recent years in the scientific advancement and public awareness of Occlupanids. What the freak? There was a 2018 museum exhibition of Occlupanids.
Yeah.
What the frick?
So
In 2011, Dr. Bruce Ragsdale collaborated with HORG and other physicians to publish the first internationally recognized paper on Occlupanids in a peer-reviewed medical journal entitled Plastic Bag Clip Discovered in Partial Colectomy, Accompanying Proposal for Phylogenetic Plastic Bag Clip Classification.
Oh yeah, they're legit. They're published.
Oh my gosh, the meticulously researched paper goes beyond simply warning of the dangers of occlupanophagy. Is that supposed to be eating occlupanids? Occlupanophagy? So. If you eat one, the dangers of occlupanophagy? Holy
Which I mean
frick.
is fair. I imagine it's like not...
Who the frick has ever eaten one of these?
Toddlers.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Wow, that like made my day. That was so good. Holy frick, dude.
I sent the guy who runs the website an email.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, is it okay if I make a video about your website? And he was like, hang on, actually let me pull up this email and read his response. Might take me
oh my gosh,
get
Ryan.
all the way down there.
I'm telling you, this like this future-born, this YouTube channel of yours, this in vitro YouTube channel,
yeah,
I would freaking kill to see the content that you would make, dude.
He said, thank you for contacting the Holotypic Occlupanid Research Group with your inquiry. We would gladly grant use of data and resources so long as they are attributed to HORG. We look forward to viewing what your favorite Occlupanids might be. Thank you for asking permission, and feel free to ask any questions about the site and contents. Yours in science, John Daniel, Director of Public Outreach, HORG.
I can't believe you're gonna have, if you make this video deep diving Occlupanids, you will be able to have freaking like, oh man, ask him for an interview, dude.
That's such a good idea. I totally should.
Just be like, and then prepare some questions that are just like, when did you first gain an interest in Occlupanids and like,
yeah, yeah.
How has what outreach and educational work is HORG doing to educate the public?
This is probably going to be the first video I make because I feel like it'll be pretty fun and like easy to actually put together because I won't have to worry about ruffling feathers at all. You know what I mean? And I had this idea for a video format, which it might be trash. I want your opinion on it, but I was thinking like a PowerPoint, PowerPoint presentation, because all the kids love that. And what's your thoughts?
I think that's a great. I genuinely think that is a wonderful way to start. Like especially with what you're trying to do here, with like you're trying to do a informant. I can't talk. You're trying to do an informative. That's the word. You're trying to use an informative, like presentation. It is a presentation, you know, and
yeah.
I mean, I also think that it wouldn't be too hard to do a bit more than that because, like, a PowerPoint would be, oh man, you know, I don't know. You could just do a bit of variation on it, even if it's just like a bit of zooming and panning across a slide. You know,
yeah, that was kind of my idea. Is like the PowerPoint would just add like the structure to it, and then I could add flair.
Exactly. So I just randomly discovered. I found this YouTube video. It's called The Bob Emergency, a study of athletes named Bob. And it's a deep dive.
I think I've seen this video.
It's the whole premise is that like the name Bob, there have like always been athletes named Bob in like professional sports in America. Just like in like every sport, and but it's like gone down. There've been like we've been losing bobs since like the 80s or whenever. Is like there've been fewer and fewer bobs, and the whole like thesis of the video is that like this is bad because bobs are amazing athletes and do incredible things, and so it's just a bunch of stories of athletes named Bob and like crazy things that they did. But the way that it's presented, the editing is really, really special and interesting. Where, and like maybe you have seen it, where it's like it's basically like a PowerPoint where all it's really showing is just like photos and graphs and quotes and stuff, but it's all presented like the images are like on this flat plane basically, and then the camera is just kind of moving around in and out of this like 3D space that the presentation is flat on it. I'm doing a bad job of describing it, but you might have seen it, right?
Yeah.
So it's
who created this video?
Chart Party. It's on a YouTube channel called Secret Base, but Secret Base is like a whole bunch of random sports stuff, and Chart Party is the one that really matters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's also the I don't remember what that YouTuber is called. I've seen this kind of style before where it's like it's sort of Prezi-esque where you have like the zooming in and out on like different parts of the scene, and those are your slides and those are your images and stuff. But instead of just zooming in and out, it's like maneuvering in a 3D space. Anyway, it seems like it's probably a ton of work. But I would watch an Occlupanid video like that.
I probably don't have the skills to do that, but it'd be fun to try.
Yeah, I bet you'd have to do like some crazy. It's probably like you need like Blender or something. You need like some 3D software. It'd be a lot of work.
But it could also make me a star.
It could.
Because you know how all the kids are raving about holotypic occlupanids these days.
Well, they're not yet, but they will be soon. Thanks to your outreach work.
Because of me. Yeah.
So what would you do? Would you just like, I guess you could give some history and stuff, but would you just like turn the whole website into video form? Like, would you go taxon by taxon, families and genuses? How would you do it?
maybe like a little bit, but I was thinking like I might choose like my favorite holotypic occlupanids. And like give a special focus on those. But I also haven't started yet, so I don't really know.
That is amazing, dude. That's so cool.
Yeah. I think it's going to be very fun. Because not enough people know about holotypic occlupanids.
I feel like, well, that's the thing. I feel like everybody knows about
all the time.
Everyone
knows
about
where they come from, or
but
where
nobody
they
knows
go.
Nobody knows what they are, and nobody knows where they come from. That is so
exactly. If you walked up to somebody and you were like, "Define holotypic occlupanid for me," they'd be like, "Who are you? Get out of my house!" Right? Nobody would be like, "Oh, I can tell you that. Easy peasy."
Yeah. Speaking of like wanting an easy project, I haven't really touched the Cyclonials video essay in a little bit. And I've been doing other things. I've been doing some music again, and I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV.
Really? I did not expect that.
It's super fun.
Is that the newest Final Fantasy?
No, the newest Final Fantasy is 16.
I'm joking. I know there was a 15. But there's a 16?
Yeah, 16 is super new. 16 like just came out. Yeah. 14 is an MMO, which is interesting.
Yeah. Is it still active?
Yeah, I'm playing it.
Do people actually still? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair, but you could be like one of like 3 people on a server.
No, there's still lots of people that play it. They actually just announced a new expansion like a week or two ago. So it's still pretty active. It's
No
pretty
kidding.
big. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
That blows my mind. Because
But
that game's like a decade old by now,
it
isn't
is.
it?
Yeah, it originally launched in like somewhere like 2010, 2013, something like that. And the initial launch was like
Yeah.
an absolute travesty dumpster fire. And so they completely like rebuilt the game from the ground up while still supporting the original
Yeah.
dumpster fire version. And then they just shifted everybody over to a new version. It's actually kind of an amazing story. I watched a documentary on it because like it's super cool because they actually
Oh yeah.
it's like part of the story. Like the game when you start the game now,
I don't used to be a dumpster fire.
what was that?
It's like it's part of the story that it used to be a dumpster fire.
It's part of no, it's part of the lore that like there was this huge calamity and basically the world was like reborn or whatever like and it's really interesting. Like
Yeah, I can
they
get
used it
behind
as
that.
a story opportunity, which is pretty cool. But anyway,
Yeah.
something that because of course when you're working on a project like a really long video essay, all you want to like you're just going to keep getting ideas for other things that you could do because it's a lot of work. And so
Yeah.
at a certain point, you're like, oh man, I'm not really having fun anymore. I want to, but if I started a new project, that'd be fun and exciting. And that's how you never finish
That'd
anything.
be super fun, and I wouldn't get bored of that ever.
Yeah. But there is, I'm kind of realizing it's kind of funny. Like I haven't finished any video essays, but when I think of like the top things I want to make video essays about, they're all like web
Yeah.
comics or stuff like that. like
Yeah.
like Homestuck is the big one, but then another thing I really want to make a video, I think would be really really fun to make a video essay about is a web comic called Paranatural because it's a great web comic, but I think it's a really interesting just case study in like how a story can change and how like become not
Yeah.
good because Paranatural it's kind of sad, but like it's broken into chapters and each chapter is like really long. They're like dozens to
Yeah.
hundreds of pages, and so each chapter like
Yeah.
the artist releases like 1 or 2 pages a week and has been for a long time, but it's like it's a freaking snail's pace. So
Uh-huh.
I read Paranatural in high school and got up to date and it was pretty
Yeah.
great, but it was just like in the middle of a chapter. It was in the middle of like this high intensity scene that stretched across like 30 pages, which is
Yeah.
like half a year
Yeah.
like for one scene, right?
Right.
And then
Right.
after my mission, I came back and I was reading it again. I read through it like a year ago, and I finished that chapter, and it was super good. And I was like, cool, I finally got the resolution for that chapter for chapter 5. And then everything after that
Yeah.
kind of was not as good. And so I've had this idea. I'd love to make a video essay about it and like do the whole, okay, I'm going to deep dive,
Yeah.
like hyper with a fine toothed comb. I'm going to summarize literally everything, every single page, because that's the way I want to do it. I'm
Yeah.
going to talk about it and why it's good. And then talk about what happened and like what changed. Why did it go downhill? Why is it just not interesting to read anymore? You know, because I think it's very interesting. Like some parts of the story I feel like just got bloated and it's a cool case study, you know?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Anyway, I basically, so like everything I want to make a video essay about is a webcomic. There's that. And then there's another webcomic called Demon by an artist named Jason Shiga who makes really weird stuff that I really like. I first discovered him because he wrote this like really, really fascinating like decomposition of like a choose your own adventure in like graphic novel form.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's this graphic novel called Meanwhile, and you follow like panel by panel, and then every so often in a panel there will be a choice you can make, and so there will be like there'll be like two lines coming off that panel in two different directions, and you follow that line, and it will like all of the pages. It's kind of hard to describe, but all the pages have like tabs sticking out of the side, where if you look at it, like the line that you're following for your choice goes off the page and onto the tab of a page beneath it. So you flip that page and follow the line, and that's the next panel. So the whole entire comic
That's kind of neat.
is a freaking spaghetti of these lines and panels, because it's very, very impressive. I can't imagine like how complicated it would be to like just organize everything on each page. And then it uses that thing really cleverly to be like, okay, at one point the main character has to like enter a code into a machine to get it to run. And so you have a whole page that is like all these numbers and these sets of numbers, because you have to like pick the first number, follow it to this next bank, pick the second number, follow it to the third bank. And so the whole page is just this awful spaghetti that there's like no way to cheat it. There's no way to know like which one you're supposed to follow what you have to actually know like the numbers. And it does lots of cool stuff. And then the story that it's telling is about a guy that invents a time machine. I mean, there's lots of different weird stuff that goes on. There's lots of different plot threads and storylines, but one of the ones that I just remember is it's the time machine. I don't remember why, but the time machine can either take you back in time, like travel through time, or it will like kill whoever's inside of it if you do something wrong or something. All I remember is this really crazy part. One of the endings you can get is that the scientist, like, or maybe it's not the scientist, it's like maybe it's like an alternate version of the main character or something crazy like that. He accidentally like uses the machine wrong, and instead of killing whoever's inside, it like kills everyone on the planet. And so to fix it, he goes back in time, lives an entire life, goes back in time, lives an entire life, goes back in time, lives an entire life, which is like a super paradox, but like,
well, that's kind of a pain.
But then like that ending is like, oh, actually every single character you've ever met so far is actually the same person, like, kind of thing. It's
weird.
It's a super wild, really cool book. Anyway, so this basically Jason Shiga's comics use a really simplistic, like, childish art style, and then they take a really simple idea and they take it super duper far, and they do lots of crazy. They use lots of like math and crazy stuff like that in the story in really fascinating ways. You can totally tell it was like written by like a mathematician or an engineer or something. And so his longest comic is called Demon, and the reason I want to make a video about Demon is for the same reason I want to make a video about Homestuck, which is that I can't really recommend that other people read it, because Demon is drawn in this very simplistic, almost childish cartoon style, and it is the most graphic and violent and profane thing I've ever read in my entire life. Like, there is so much like blood and gore. It is a story about death drawn with these very simple, like, cartoonish characters. It's kind of crazy. So let me tell you about Demon, because Demon's freaking crazy. And Demon is a classic example of like taking a very simple idea and then exploring every single possible inch of it. Because the way Demon starts, so Demon is the way Demon starts is super crazy. It's a very evocative start, because the very first page is just a guy sitting at a desk. There's no words or anything. There's just a couple panels of him sitting at a desk, and then he looks up, and then he walks off panel and comes back to the desk with a rope, and then ties it above the desk and commits suicide. And then he hangs himself, and then there's a couple panels that just show his body like decomposing, and that's how it freaking starts. And then you turn the page, and he wakes up in like a bed, and he's in like the same room, and he's like, what the frick? And then he notices some things are a little bit different around him, but he's like, he finds like a bottle of pills, and he's like,
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was given a second chance at life, but I don't want it. So he like kills himself again, and he wakes up in like the same room, but things are a little bit different.
Yeah.
And this happens like 2 or 3 times, and then finally one time he notices because like he kills then another one of like the repetitions. He finds like a gun in the room, and so he shoots himself.
Yeah.
And then the next time he wakes up, he finds the bullet like lodged in his wall, but like from the other side. And as in like the bullet went through his head, it went into the wall and embedded into the wall, and then now he is in the next room over kind of thing because he can see like the bullet like was stopped in the wall from the other side. So basically what he finally realizes, and then also he sees on the news or something that like there was this insane incident where like 5 people in this same motel all committed suicide on the same day because he realizes that he has this power where every time he dies, his like mind or soul or whatever possesses the body of the person nearest him. And so that's what was happening is he was just hopping into the body of like the person in the next room over. And that's why it was like the same room because it's a motel, but things were like a little bit different. So so he never knew this like his whole life because he never died until like now it's like his 30s and he tried to kill himself. He never knew that he had this power, but he is a demon, and demons when they die possess the body of whoever's nearest them. So the only way you can kill a demon is if they die next to another demon.
How the freak do you not know you're a demon?
Because it's not like he has horns and a tail or whatever. Demons literally look like normal humans except for this one thing. Like that's it.
Demons... Like where did he come from? Was he birthed?
So that's the mystery. So like the first act of the story is him trying to figure that stuff out, and him like for a little while he like is just like trying to kill himself and trying to figure out why he won't die. And then he so while he still doesn't really understand his powers much, so early on he's like, okay, fine, if I can't die, then I'm going to get revenge on the person who ruined my life. And because what happened, you learned that what happened was he got in a car wreck where he was like his family's car was hit by like a semi, and his wife was killed and his daughter was killed, and so he was just alone. And the guy who hit them survived, but he like hit his head or something and has been like mentally impaired, and acts he has the mind of like a 4-year-old or something now, and so he the main character, whose name is Jimmy, it's also kind of bizarre because Jason Shiga in his comics always uses the same art style and always draws the same character. So this is like the same Jimmy they're always named Jimmy. So this Jimmy is just this crazy demon thing, but he's also just the same guy who was in that Choose Your Own Adventure comic. It's just the same guy. So he decides that he's gonna like avenge, like since he can't die, he's just gonna go kill the guy who ruined his life, the guy who hit them. And so it's not hard. It's not hard for him to get into the prison because he just has to like go up to the gates and then kill himself, and then poof, now he's like the security guard and he can just go in, and if he can't get somewhere, he just finds a way to kill himself, and he'll hop closer and closer to where he's trying to get, right? And as you can assume, it's very gruesome because he's constantly having to find very creative ways to kill himself.
I was just thinking, like, this sounds super messed up.
Yeah. But the twist is that when he finally finds the guy, when he looks in the guy's cell, he sees his daughter, because his daughter is also a demon because she's his son, and it's genetic. And so when they got in the car accident, Jimmy, the main guy, he survived. He wasn't killed. His daughter was like thrown from the vehicle, died, and possessed the truck driver. And demons to each other, like when a demon sees a demon, they see. So when he sees his daughter, he sees her as his daughter, and he could, like, everybody else sees her as like this, I don't know, like middle-aged truck driver dude. And so his daughter is also a demon.
So his daughter is the one who killed his wife and daughter.
No, she's just inhabiting the body of the guy who hit them.
I'm totally messing with you. Yeah.
And so the story goes insane over the top places. Like it just gets more and more and more and more ridiculous and extreme and violent. As they're at first they're combating this like government organization, this like secret branch of the CIA or whatever that knows about demons and is trying to like eradicate them.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to eradicate a demon though. And
I mean, yeah, if they die and just go somewhere else,
at the same time,
can't kill them.
And so most of the story is like the head CIA guy who's hunting him. Most of the story is like cat and mouse battle of wits between Jimmy and this like CIA guy. And then
it seems pretty low stakes though. I gotta be honest.
Well, it gets
like if he dies, then he just kind of becomes the CIA dude.
So the CIA people, they capture his daughter, and so he does this whole elaborate plan to like to blow the base up and save his daughter. I mean, he doesn't have to save her; she dies.
Yeah.
But then he just like walks through the rubble until he finds her, kind of thing. But the whole thing is full of like ridiculously creative and clever. It's super freaking. It's really, really clever, and it's also really messed up. So that's like the first half of the story is them beating the CIA guy, and the CIA, this like CIA people, they're trying to find ways to create new demons, and they succeed. And so before he it is kind of silly that like he's able to do this. It's a kind of a silly twist. But before the CIA whole base like blows up, the villain, the head operative guy, is able to turn himself into a demon, so he survives. And then
like maybe he's not the bad guy though.
Yeah, he's not. He's absolutely not. The main character is absolutely a horrible, awful person. You know, he's like he totally, when he realizes that he has this power, he goes on like the most insane bender physically possible. Like, because he can just there's no consequences for his actions, and he can experience anything he wants, and he can be anybody he wants. You know, it's really, really awful. But anyways, super freaking good, and I would make a video about it because I can't recommend people read it because it's horrible.
Yeah,
that's a demon.
I kind of want to check it out now though, just out of like morbid curiosity. I don't think I'd get super far with it, if I'm being honest.
If you want,
I'd probably just get sad.
Something I do actually really recommend that you read is another Jason Shiga comic called, I think it's called like Fleep. It's like a nonsense word. And it's like, it's available. It's just like on his website for free. It's like 100 pages. It's pretty short. And the premise of Fleep is Jimmy, because everything is always Jimmy. He always draws the same guy.
It's all about Jimmy.
Like the starting page is this guy walks into a telephone booth, and then there's like a flash, and everything goes dark, and he wakes up in the telephone booth, surrounded. The whole booth is just like encased in concrete, and everything is in a different language. So that's why it's called Fleep, because he can see that instead of saying phone, it says Fleep. So, okay, cool. He's trapped in a telephone booth, has no idea what happened, has no idea like how he got there. And so he goes into, and so when I was talking about like insane math and stuff, he immediately goes into survival mode. And so he's like, okay, cool. How long can I survive in here? And he happens to have like a paper bag or something. So he like breathes into the paper bag and times how long it takes him to like breathe all the air in the bag, and then just does some math to be like, okay, cool. These are the dimensions of the whole booth. And this is how long it took me to breathe this bag of air. So this is how much air I have. Like, there's just like so much ridiculous, awesome math like that.
Huh.
Then there's one part where he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't have like any source of water or food. But he's able to like unscrew the light fixture. So he has like this bowl and he pees in it. And he's like, okay, cool. For every like, if I drink this, I'll live like another 2 hours, like kind of thing. Like all this stupid math and stuff to him. And then it transitions from him trying to survive to like trying to figure out what happened while still being trapped in a telephone booth and not having access to anything. Like it's really, really fascinating and cool. And even despite it being so simple and so short, it still has like one or even two like huge twists. Like it's very, very well written. So I highly recommend you read Fleep.
Simple, so short, sociopathic.
Let me look it up. I gotta try to find the link for it. Fleep. Yeah, so basically Jason Shiga is a madman and he makes really, really interesting stuff. Okay, cool. I just found a web page that I think is all of Fleep just on one page. Okay, I'm gonna send you this. You can read this. It will not take long. It's not long. But yeah. So should
I read it right now or should I wait?
No, you can read it off the podcast.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of long form video essays having just like entire mini essays inside of them. And so when I make a video about Demon, I want to just stop halfway through and be like, okay, cool, now here's a mini essay about Fleep, because it'll only be like 15 or 20 minutes to talk about the whole thing. And it's just like, poof, here's a thing about Fleep. I want to do the same thing for Cyclonials, where Cyclonials is this visual novel by Andrew Hussey about a freaking social media influencer taking over the world with clown propaganda. And Andrew Hussey has a weird thing with clowns because he actually made a whole other like graphic novel about clowns and clown lore and stuff. And there's some references to that in Cyclonials. Yeah. So in my Cyclonials video, I really want to just stop and be like, okay, cool. Now we're going to talk about Whistles, because Whistles was the clown thing Andrew Hussey made first. And now here's a 30-minute review of all of Whistles. Yeah. Just inside your Cyclonials video.
Or what you could do is you could put your video essay on Homestuck in the middle of your video essay on Cyclonials.
My Homestuck video essay, but every time I say Homestuck, it's my Cyclonials video essay. But every time I say clown...
Please tell me you'll actually do that eventually.
I think that would actually be a really funny, like, clickbait is really silly. I hate that clickbait is the way that it is, but like we all just accept it, you know? Like I've put a lot of thought into like what do I title this video essay that I've been working so long on, right? And because if I call it like a summary and analysis of Cyclonials, no one will click on that. They won't. And so I have to call it like Socialist Clown Propaganda, the visual novel. Like, you know, like, because people will click on that. And the thing is that like we are in a post clickbait world where when like not only like clickbait is disingenuous, everybody knows it and it's on purpose. And I don't mean like there's a difference between what I mean, but like because there's like Mr. Beast clickbait where it's like, okay, cool. It's going to be as flashy as possible. And on the other hand, like specifically in this niche of like video essays and stuff, there's just like people just title their video essays in a certain style, you know? There is a certain like what H Bomber Guy did where he launched the whole like
in the most bombastic, nonsensical way they can.
Well, sort of, but it's just like they simplify it a lot where it's just like Fallout New Vegas is amazing, and here's why. And you know, and then you see a 3-hour timestamp, and you're like, I'm hooked. Like, And so, I just think it's
Yeah.
interesting that like you can title a video with something that comes across as like, okay, this wouldn't, I don't know, this would be one thing, but I know it's something else because I can see that the like I can see that this is a 2-hour video. I know that it is going to be a deep dive, probably a summary and analysis of this media, but that's not reflected in the title at all. You know, the title is just like some catchy joke or something about the media, you know.
Body once told. Sorry. Yeah.
You know, you just call it.
Yeah.
You call it like, oh, I watched all 20. I read every Animorphs book, and it's like, okay, 4-hour timestamp. It's gonna be good. Like, I don't know why.
I read every Halo lore book there is.
I don't know why I got on that tangent, but yeah.
I don't remember either, but I'm glad we got there anyways.
All of that to say that I feel I'm pretty sure the point I was trying to reach was like I feel no remorse being like, this is a video about Cyclonials. Psych, 45 minutes of it are about something else. Like,
Yeah. No, 100%, 100%. You know what's this is entirely and completely unrelated. Like it's not even close. Like completely not even anywhere near what we were just talking about. You know what's been stuck in my head for like the last like few hours?
Axel F by Crazy Frog.
No, it's even better.
What's even better than Axel F by Crazy Frog?
There's this video going around, and I want to do this full volume, so I apologize for when you're editing later. But you might have seen this already. I don't know. But this group of friends picked up their friend, and the video picks up. Hey, I gotta pause to get this. They're driving in this car on the highway or something, and this lady's like, I've worked 10 hours. All I want is Wingstop. Drive. And then one of the people in the back is like, that seems a little excessive. And then she's like, I'm starving. What did you eat, squid? I ate nothing.
I worked 10 hours. All I want is Wingstop. That's a little excessive. Why? That's a little excessive. CEO of Pangry. I'm starving, squid. What did you eat today? I ate nothing. Nothing.
And there's numerous heavy metal remixes of this video, and it brings me so much joy every time. And if you haven't seen it, you should look up All I Want Is Wingstop, because it gives me a lot of serotonin.
All I want is Wingstop.
All I want is Wingstop.
I've never been to Wingstop.
That's one of my favorite things. Is there's this guy on YouTube. I can't remember his name, but he knows how to play a heavy bass, and he will add heavy bass just on top of random video clips, and it actually sounds pretty good. And I guess there's another guy that like does the same thing with drums.
You want to know what's been in my head?
No, what?
What's been in my head is the freaking the Magic Conch Shell song.
Yeah.
Dear Magic Conch Shell, what can I do to erase all the heartache? She's such a bombshell, blowing me up like a bomb factory pastry.
Our friend Matt was with us the other day, and he showed us this musician who has like made a couple of songs using AI Spongebob voices, which is like nothing new. AI covers have been, they've been popping off. You see all kinds of funny memes. You see Mr. Krabs singing Frank Sinatra. I don't know. You see all kinds of funny stuff. But this is just like totally original, just using a SpongeBob AI voice as the singer. It's practically like a Vocaloid at that point, right? And it's unironically kind of good and kind of
it sounds
slaps.
like every other country song that ever existed.
And it's been stuck in my head.
That's like the perfect representation of why I hate most country is because it all sounds the same.
It does.
Every single one. This dude made some random country lyrics, made SpongeBob sing it, and it's like, oh yeah, that sounds like a country song to me.
I really don't think that sounded like country, but yes, I agree with you. I agree with you that all of country sounds the same.
And it's like obviously like just like memeing on the country music genre in general. But it's like, oh yeah, nope, that sounds like the top 10 country hits. Look at that. Anyways, I have gripes against country music, and my family has disowned me as a result. That's a joke. They haven't disowned me yet. That's a joke. They wouldn't disown me yet.
It's to be expected when you're from freaking Mississippi and you don't like country, right?
Dude, honestly, I have to keep it like on the down low. Because like everybody in my family loves country music. Grandparents, cousins, parents, siblings. I'm the only person I can think of that is not a fan of country. Even my older brother, and that one surprises me.
I'm not a fan of country.
You're not. We're not related, though. Also,
you're the only person you can think of who doesn't like country.
In my family, jeez, goodness gracious.
Go back far enough. Farther.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Farther.
You're right. Yeah.
Farther.
I bet if I go back to like.
That's not far enough.
Jared Oglestein, the 32nd. He probably doesn't like country music.
Well, no, like the 13. 32nd is way too many, dude.
Oh yeah, I guess that's 32 generations.
You wanna know what bums me out?
Say what?
What really bums me out?
What?
You know what bums me out?
What?
Other than the fact that our Discord call is super delayed, and this is going to be like the worst listening experience anyone's ever heard.
I was just
what really bums me out is I discovered a really cool game last night. I was like 15 seconds into talking when you responded. Oh my gosh!
I was responding to the thing you said where this would be a really bad listening experience.
I know. I said that so long ago. Okay, so
such an awkward conversation.
So what really makes me sad is I discovered a game last night. I stumbled upon a video of Northern Lion playing a game called Balatro. And I really want to play Balatro. It looks super fun, but I can't. They won't let me have it.
Why not?
I want it, but they won't let me have it.
Why not?
Because the dev doesn't want to do early access, and so he's just like, nah, fam, I'm gonna make it really good and release it like at the end of the year.
I respect that. I like this dev.
And also, there's no more demo because it was like a limited demo, and I didn't discover it until after the. I respect the whole, like, I'm not going to do early access, but, like, just let me play the demo, dude. Please. I just want to play it.
Well, maybe you should send him an email.
No, way too many people have already sent him lots of emails. But yeah, it's a poker roguelike where you have a deck and you make poker hands and you score points based on your hand. Yeah. But then you get lots of multipliers and special cards that do nonsense multipliers. Yeah. And it's definitely a game where it's like, okay, starting out, try to get like it's like you have like a certain number of turns to get a certain number of points, right? It's like, okay, within 3 turns get 500 points. It's like, okay, cool, let me like discard and then play a full house, bam. And then, okay, cool, let me draw my next hand and let me play like 2 pair, and I have this like special modifier that means that my pairs are worth twice as many points. Bam, there, I got a bunch more points. And that's it in like the simplest sense, but then it just keeps like going and going and going, where it's like you can keep refining your deck and you can keep getting really crazy multipliers and really crazy and like insane synergies and stuff to the point that you can get like millions upon millions of points with a single hand in like the end game if you break it enough. And it just looks like really satisfying fun. I freaking love. There is something so satisfying about like just casual little card games. I freaking love like solitaire, but like when it's good. I hate normal solitaire, but like Shenzhen solitaire, that freaking slaps. I'll just sit on my computer and play solitaire for freaking ages. Yeah. But like, so this is just taking that and it's taking that idea and turning it into like a really fledged out game of just playing with cards. Yeah. That was like the dumbest sentence I've ever said. That like, oh wow, they made a game about playing with cards. Anyway,
Cards.
I really want to play it. It looks super freaking fun, and also it's like absolutely gorgeous to look at.
Oh yeah.
All the cards are like beautiful pixel art, and there's so much like little flashes and little sparkles and stuff like that. I just want to play it, dude.
Why didn't you just get it? Why didn't you just get it, Jason?
I just want to play Balatro. Okay, let me Google Balatro cracked. I'll come back to you.
All right. I'll be here.
Balatro PC Games torrent. Yeah, I'm just gonna torrent it now. Thanks for leading me into a life of crime, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being this.
Does this make me an accessory to murder?
When the police come and get me, I'll say, "There's your man, officers," and then they'll go freeze, blam, 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 and that'll be the end for you.
And then I'll be blam, blam, blam from then on.
Now. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this episode's gonna be a pain to edit. I feel like.
Why do you say that, Jason?
I might have to do some finagling. To cut out the empty silence and me adjusting my computer and trying to make it sound like we're having a normal human conversation and not communicating by freaking like
satellite
communicating
telephone.
with the same delay as NASA talking to a Mars rover.
Yeah. Or
you
could upload the raw audio.
Yeah, no edits.
Yeah, none.
Don't even use our claps at the beginning to like line up your track and my track.
Wait, did we clap
Just
at the
give
beginning?
it to them. Just give it to them at raw how it is. That's what the people want.
Yeah, give them the authentic Rajtat experience.
Ryan, we can't end the episode until you say something funny for me to laugh at and then fade out our laughter.
I say funny things like
how we
30
always end
times
the show.
a day, a minute, second, all the time. Why did it take you so long to laugh? Stop taking it. It feels awkward. I hate it.
That took like 10 seconds for you to laugh, Matt. Stop! I hate it.
That's what I just said. I'm gonna cry.